Presence. This is a brand new supernatural thriller movie from Neon, who had a really, really tremendous year last year. They're coming off of the success of Long Legs, and this
Yeah,
trailer, I believe, was attached to a couple of their horror movies that did come out last year. Steven Soderbergh, he is one of our most celebrated directors, one of our most prolific directors. He's one of my personal favorites. He's always working, he's always making stuff. He's been
yeah,
behind a lot of brilliant films, but in the past few years, the guy's been putting out stuff consistently at a very, very rapid pace. He just came off of like a 4-movie run working directly with Warner Brothers and HBO Max. The
hmm
last movie that I talked about on the show was Magic Mike's Last Dance. He concluded that
ah,
Magic
yes,
Mike trilogy. Wasn't a huge fan of it, but it was what it was. We also talked about Kimmy a couple of years ago that came out on HBO Max, but he's just put out a ton of stuff over the past few recent years, and he's been very experimental. But then in addition to that, David Koepp, he's a frequent screenwriter. In addition to Steven Soderbergh, they worked on a lot of stuff together. He is an incredible screenwriter. He's done a lot of your favorite stuff, probably big films like all of the Indiana Jones movies. He wrote Spider-Man from 2002, the Tobey
hmm
Maguire Spider-Man movie. He's done The Mummy. He's done a lot of stuff. He's even the screenwriter for the upcoming Jurassic World movie that's going to be dropping later this summer. And so prolific as well in his own right. But this is a new film that they've once again teamed up on that focuses on basically a ghostly presence in a house. And the entire movie is basically shown from the perspective of this ghost that lives within this house and follows this family that is now newly moved into this brand new house that they have purchased. And so we got a chance to actually go check this out this
yeah.
past weekend. So with all of that out the way, man, I'll pass it to you. What did you think about this new movie Presence?
Presence is so interesting because I was curious. Steven Soderbergh, like you said, is such an interesting filmmaker, always doing something. Love a lot of what he does in his films and his energy. It's just always, it's always a treat. I think, whenever I'm watching a Soderbergh movie, I know I'm going to enjoy myself in some form or capacity. I enjoyed Presence, but something that I need Neon to stop doing is marketing their films as the scariest film you've ever seen in theaters. It is gonna drive me up a wall, I swear. If they do that again, it's like, come on, y'all. Like, you don't have to market your movie like that. I promise. They did that with Long Legs. Do I like Long Legs a lot? Yes, I really like Long Legs, but it's not because it's the scariest movie I've ever seen. That's not why I like it. And Presence is the same way. I like Presence. It's an okay film, but it's not scary at all. In fact, it's a family drama that has some tension and there's some creepy things in it. I think if you're afraid of the supernatural, or you've seen movies like Paranormal Activity, which you can tell is drawing inspiration from films like that, sure, but it's not a horror. It's not really a scary movie. It's not the scariest movie you've ever watched, because this presence that you just explained is living in the house with his family. It's just kind of, it's being nosy. Just paying attention to what this family is going through and their family dynamic and things like that. And I, what I do like about this film a lot is, honestly, I found myself asking technical questions to myself the entire time, because you're following the presence from a kind of a, I guess, a point of view, first person point of view. There's so many things I found interesting, like how did they do the camera work? Where are the shadows? There's no footsteps. Is this a body rig? What are they doing here? Like, I found myself being interested in a lot of that stuff with the movie. And so technically I had a decent amount of time, or I had a decent time with it, just kind of asking myself those questions, like, dang, I wonder how they did that shot. I wonder how they did this. But at the core of it, it is a family drama, and I think it's an interesting, it can be an interesting family drama that it's just fine, man. There is something I really like in this film is Chris Sullivan. I thought he was acting his ass off in this movie. I really like Chris Sullivan's performance. He is a decent amount of this movie. Of course, Lucy Liu is in it too, but we definitely get, to me, more Chris Sullivan than we do Lucy Liu in this film. And I think he's crushing it. I've never seen him in anything else. I don't think I never. Well, maybe some other, like, he's Taserface, but like that's not the same. That's not the same thing. But I've never watched what's that TV show everybody loves? This Is Us. I know a lot of people love him in This Is Us. I've never seen This Is Us, but after watching what he did in this movie, I was like, dang, I think I really need to go watch This Is Us now, because I really appreciated what he was bringing, I think, to this film. But overall, I liked it. I thought it was a fine film to sit there and watch. I think it took a little too long to get started. But yeah, I think I was interested in the way the movie was made more than I was too much on the story they were trying to tell. I thought it was a normal family drama, but yeah, it was a fine film, and it was interesting to kind of sit through, I think.
To address the marketing of the movie in Neon, look, they got a business to run. You know this.
Man,
They gotta make
scariest
money.
film.
They
Come
got to make money,
on.
man. This is why it works, because Long Legs is not only their highest grossing movie so far, it was the
Yeah,
highest grossing independent movie of last year, made like
that's
125
true.
million dollars. So all
That's
of the
true.
marketing for that movie, it worked, regardless of like what the reality is. And you're right, they certainly present this as one thing, and it's not that. And I think that a lot of people will be pissed off by that fact, no doubt about it. And even myself, like I bought into the marketing like, oh, this is just going to be a flat out traditional horror movie. It's certainly
Hmm.
not that. And so sometimes it's easy to adjust those expectations, and sometimes it's a little bit more difficult. I think it's always one of those things that you have to personally contend with. And for this movie, it was easy for me to just like let go of that, because
Hmm.
from the opening frame, when you hear the music that they implement, it's like, this definitely it's not a scary movie. Like, you
Hmm.
automatically sort of know, if you watch a lot of horror movies, like they're not trying to be scary with this film. So I just like let that go immediately. But that's not always easy to do. There have been other films that I've had expectations of what it's going to be or what they presented it as in terms of the marketing, and they just go in a completely different direction. The actual vision of the film is nothing like that. But with Presence in and of itself, this is a movie that I like, and I just love that we exist in a world where Steven Soderbergh can just do all the weirdest, most experimental stuff, because he's just always trying
Hmm.
new things. He's shot movies on iPhones. He always is playing with nonlinear storytelling and weird sequencing. The way he uses sound and immersion in some of his films is really, really cool. Even the way that he shot Kimmy, that movie that we talked about a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
it was an
Hmm.
interesting way to shoot the movie. A real big sense of paranoia and dread that existed within that film. He's just always trying new stuff. And I just love that, because he's worked within the studio system. He's done the stuff with big stars, and he's won Academy Awards, and he's had bigger
Hmm.
budgets. But now he's just like working in small independent, film. And like, he doesn't have to do that. He's in his 60s. He could actually probably be directing much bigger stuff, but he's not going after that. And I just love that he
Hmm.
can take a lot of these chances and just do original, different types of stuff. And with
Yeah.
Presence, it was a movie that I enjoyed because it was a family drama. You kind of see the dynamic that exists between this mother, father, and their two kids and what they're going through. And sort of the central conflict of the movie is focused on one of the young kids whose friend has passed away due to pretty confusing circumstances. There's not really a lot of
Yeah.
information that exists out there. And just building up that tension was interesting. I will say that the movie sort of loses a lot of its momentum and it sort of sags in the middle of it. But
Hmm.
that's ultimately to get to, I think, what is a really good payoff by the end. I actually
Yeah.
really like where the final, I guess I would say 15 to 20 minutes of the movie went,
Hmm.
because it was a bit surprising. I didn't totally see it coming. It just slows down a lot in the middle of the film in order to get us to that place, and that was kind of where I checked out a little bit of the movie, and it didn't
Hmm.
hold me completely. But I think it's really solid. I like that it's more so leaning into the supernatural as opposed to just like flat out horror scares.
Yeah.
Neon, they have a whole nother conversation in terms of how they present and market their movies, but they are trying to make their money at the end of the day. But I know a lot of people, because of that fact, they will probably walk out of this thinking like, yo, that was not, that was like Sesame Street. That wasn't anything. Like, what are we talking about here? But either way, it was a film that I did enjoy, and it just makes me, again, even more excited and enthusiastic about Soderbergh as a director and just what he's willing to do and just some of the chances he's willing to take, whether they always work or not.
And another
Uh,
movie coming out.
he does. He has another movie coming out in like 2 months, Black Bag. I'm very excited about that, with
Yeah.
Michael Fassbender and Kate Blanchett. Hopefully, that's a really, really good movie. So I'm very, very much looking forward to that. So again, the guy's always working. He's always doing really cool stuff, but we'll have to see. But folks, those are all of our thoughts on Presence. If you've checked this movie out, hit us up and let us know what you think.